Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from. Thanks for tuning in today. There is so much going on this week. I have done the usual 5 topics, which I'll post up here in a second. But I've got a lot more. So we are going to go through the main stuff and then we are going to get into some miscellaneous stuff as well. And oh, and as I mentioned in the chat, I do have a contest to tell you about where you could win a free 5-night all-inclusive stay at the Santos Finisterra, which is a beautiful all-inclusive resort in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, built into the hillside. It's absolutely gorgeous. But it's not just restricted to the Santos Finisterra. It actually is a prize for any of the properties in Mexico. And so, yeah, all you have to do is be a little creative to enter the contest, and you could be the winner of a 5-night free stay. So stay tuned till the end for details on that. So before we get into it, I'm as I mentioned in one of the community posts, I've been watching some YouTube videos on Cabo San Lucas. Haven't been there in a year, and things change all the time. So I've been watching some YouTube videos, some new, some old, and I'm kind of surprised by some of these YouTubers, some of them who've got 50 or 100,000 followers. These videos are getting 150,000 views, and some of the advice that they're giving, I completely disagree with. So I'm not sure if I should do a video on that or what. I think I got to work out the angles. I don't want to disparage any of the other creators because we're all just sharing our thoughts and opinions. But there was one creator in particular who mentioned the top 5 do's and don'ts, and one of the pretty major ones that he missed was that basically it's a life and death situation if you try swimming on any other than the 3 swimmable beaches in Cabo. They're very, very, very dangerous. The undertow is huge, the riptides are huge, and yeah, like I said, you're basically taking your life in your hands. So I'm curious when I see people doing videos like that and they're not mentioning these kind of things. Hey, Zaddy, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, you know what? All I'll say is that he's a new creator. I think he's had his channel for about a year and a few months. So it was very interesting. He actually, considering he's new, I thought he did a really good job with the videos. Maybe I will share later on. Maybe I'll get in touch with him first, just to give him a few tips. But there's some basic stuff, right? And also, little things like taking a shuttle from the airport to your hotel instead of taking a taxi or taking pre-booked shuttles. This is kind of a no-brainer, folks. The only airport that doesn't have taxi service from the airport is actually Cancun Airport. And they've just actually, that was one of my topics to talk about afterwards, but we're jumping ahead as we like to do. There's a new ADO service that's going from the Cancun Airport. It's $8 per person. I'm not sure of the exact routing. I know I took an ADO from the Tren Maya station, and if you haven't watched that video and you want a good laugh at how stupid a well-seasoned traveler like me can be, that's a good one. Pour yourself a beer, glass of wine, margarita, and sit down and have a view of that video. I'll put the link below. Yeah, that was quite the day. Anyways, we took an ADO from the Tren Maya station, the Mayan train, but it goes to downtown Cancun, like not the touristy part that we look for, but the downtown area, which then means you've got to get another bus. So what could be a potentially 15-20 minute ride turns into an hour and a half. And what a lot of these vloggers were saying is, it's really expensive to take a taxi from the airport, and it's a good hour from Cabo Airport to Cabo San Lucas, and you're driving at highway speed, so there's a good distance that they're covering there as well. So a taxi is roughly $80 American. A private shuttle, so no stops, just you and whoever you're traveling with in your party, starts at about 80, 85 and goes up, just goes up exponentially from there. And then what these vloggers were saying is, don't waste your money. It's cheaper just to get on the prearranged shared transfer. Okay, so first of all, if you don't know what a shared transfer is, that means you are stopping at multiple other hotels along the way. Yes, it's cheaper, $25 per person. But remember, I said it was like $80 in a taxi versus $25 per person. If you're not traveling alone, let's say you're with one other person, now you're up to $50 total for the ride. It's just one way. What if you got a kid with you or another friend? Now you're up to $75. Boom. Taxi takes you from the airport straight to the hotel, stops at the OXXO on the way so you can get a 6-pack of beers to enjoy on the ride. You're the shuttle bus, which is probably going to take you an hour and a half, maybe upwards of 2 hours, depending on where the other people are stopping along the way. And if your hotel is the last one for the drop-off, sucks to be you. So it's just interesting. Zaddy's saying, yeah, private transfers are nothing. Absolutely. You know what? Maintaining a healthy blood pressure. I never used to mind it. But I mean, ulterior motives, right? I mean, being in the travel industry, I wanted to see what these other hotels looked like. Nobody else in my group did. And if I did book it that way, unless it was a significant discount in price, everyone else in my group would be like, Christine, seriously, what are you doing? And I just wouldn't put them through that. Christine says as well, saying, did a shared transfer once, never again, always a private transfer. You know what? I've even had it once where we had landed in Grand Bahamas in Freeport. We've shared transfers in Mazatlan with beers in 100 pesos. Nice. And actually the taxi was pretty cheap in Mazatlan as well. Now Tammy, when she went, she was with a larger group. So once you've got 3, 4, 5 people, 3, 4, 5 bags, it becomes more challenging. So that's when you have to get a little bit smarter about how you plan. But if it's just 2 people or 1 person or 3 people, then it's a lot easier to do taxis and stuff like that. Shared your shared transfer. Yeah. So, and I'm talking about these numbers as a total, like for the entire group. So, but it's just interesting, and you have to sort of weigh that kind of stuff. Christine saying her time is worth something. And that was exactly it. So when we flew into Freeport, this is the first time for Vancouver flying direct nonstop to the Bahamas to Freeport. It was with a charter, which means to say we did have other stops potentially along the way because everyone who was on that charter flight had accommodations as well on the island. And so there was a shared shuttle. So we got off the plane, got our bags, went out front, saw the shuttle bus tour guide, and said, hey, here's our names. Cross us off. We're getting a taxi. We'll see you on the way back. And so that worked out really well. And we got to the hotel about 20 or 30 minutes before everybody else did. When we got to the hotel, we were actually given the wrong room category. And so we were able to go back to the front desk and get our whole situation rectified, new room keys, proper room that we had paid for, and get that fixed before the onslaught arrived. And we went back to our new room, a correct room, unpacked, went back to the lobby, and it was just being with people. They were everywhere. So and the lineup for the front desk was huge. So, that would have been a major pain if we'd had to, go back and try to fix our room at that point. Plus, everybody else would have had their rooms assigned already, so us actually getting our correct room might have been an issue. Tammy's saying they were the only stop. Yeah, the only stop, of course, so no big deal. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, like I said, you got to be a little bit smart about it when you're traveling with a larger party. So yeah. Um, Anyways, like usual, I digress. So let's talk about this. So MSC has some wicked deals on for some select sailings. And it's an almost free single supplement. Now, I will say as well that these cruises are cheap as chips from the get-go. But looking at two of them, there were two that they were specifically mentioning. One departs December 16th of 2025, and these prices are going to change. But just to give you an idea, this was as of yesterday. This is what the prices were in Canadian, $747 per person, and I'll use my handy dandy phone app to convert from Canadian to American. So in Canadian, this 7-night cruise was going for $747 tax in, which in American is $538. And it was departing from Italy, was also going to Spain and France. There's also another one that was specifically advertised, and that's departing on January 6th of 2026. And that one was starting in the UK in Southampton, goes to Hamburg, Germany, Amsterdam, Belgium, France, and that was 905 Canadian per person, which is 651 American based on today's exchange rate. But like I said, it's no single supplement, or it's a reduced single supplement. So these are rates based on an inside cabin, but they're also based on one person in a cabin. So an inside cabin is going to suck. No window, but you can always turn on the TV to the bow cam channel. Just turn down the volume, and then it's sort of like having a window, albeit forward viewing. And obviously no balcony. So those are, two drawbacks. But I was also looking at balcony prices on those similar cruises, and there were some that were like $1,200 for 7-night. This is like Northern European or Mediterranean. And I mean, imagine even if you were going to travel with a friend, if you could have all that cabin space to yourself, open up the balcony, and then you've got double the balcony space, as well as you've each got your own cabin. So, it just, to me, I was like, wow, that sounds really cool. So that's definitely one that you want to check out. So that's, again, MSC, and they're for later this year. Look for something that's like it's a 30% reduced single supplement. Normally it's like 95 to 100%. So basically, if there's one person in a cabin, they're charging you double. So, yeah, worth checking out for sure. But yeah, like I said, the deals, they are a coming. So definitely check that out. Moving on to the next one, was a really interesting thing that I'd never heard of. And it actually had a different name, but basically it's called the Hack, had a different name, but basically it's called neighbor-free seating. Nice little chicken broth to warm me up today. It's sunny today, probably in the 80s, 20, going to get up to 20, I think, in Celsius. But my feet got cold. When your feet get cold, the rest of you kind of gets chilly. So nice warm broth to warm me up. So neighbor-free seating. Now this is offered by 4 different airlines, and it's pretty cool. So it's offered by Qantas, Lufthansa, Sri Lankan Airlines, and Philippine Airlines. And basically the concept is, when you book your flight seat, when you book your flight ticket, you book it, and then especially on an international flight, you would then generally proceed to where you do your seat selection. And at that point in time, you don't know how many more seats are available. And it's either at the point where you purchase your ticket or it's a few days prior to boarding, to departure, that you have the option to do this neighbor-free bidding option. Yes, there is a cost to it, but the basic concept is, let's say you're on a wide body plane, so it's like a 333 config for the seating, or you're just on a narrow body 737, that kind of thing, max, where it's a 3 and 3 config. Well, you could book an aisle or a window seat, but probably you're going to want to have that middle seat free. And let's say you're traveling with another person, like my husband and I. Ideally, I would prefer to have the window seat and he likes to have the aisle. But because we can't guarantee to have that middle seat free, I generally just go with 2 aisle seats. And then, whatever, you never know what's going to happen beside you. But imagine if we were able to book a window and an aisle and then bid on that middle seat to have it be sort of our seat. That's the basic concept. And so this only works on flights where they're going to have some empty seats anyways. But if there is going to be an empty seat, why not pay to guarantee that that empty seat is beside you and not beside, somebody else? So prices start, like say on Qantas, for example, which would be a good one, especially on a long haul flight from Vancouver to Sydney, for example. Prices start at just $30. This is American pricing for short haul flights. And then for longer hauls could be up to $225. But when you think about how much you're actually paying for your own seat to be able to have that empty seat beside you and then be able to lay out and actually sleep on the flight. Because to me, if this is sitting and that's reclined, I don't know that this versus this is going to make that much difference in terms of a good sleep for me. Let me know if you're different. I will take a neck pillow. I have a horrible royal blue and plum purple. It's like two colors on each side of it. It's hideous to look at, but man, does it work well. It wraps right around my neck. It's actually listed in my video, the Amazon list, which is of course affiliate links, but it's the best travel pillow I've ever used. But still, this to this, this to this, come on. It's just you're not going to get a good night's sleep. But if you've got a little bit of space to at least spread out, width-wise, then that could maybe make a difference. But let me know. What do you think? Would you pay extra? Would you pay $100, $200 to have an empty seat beside you? Or is that money you'd rather put towards your next vacation? I'm curious. Anyways, I thought it was a pretty cool concept. Lufthansa, the rates for this neighbor-free seating, Lufthansa rates start at 59 euros. So just gives you an idea. Each one's going to be a little bit different. Yeah, well, it's worth checking out. And it'd be interesting to see if more airlines were offering this kind of thing. I know there's nobody that I'm aware of in Canada that's offering that. And I haven't seen anything in the US of any American airlines offering such a thing, but I don't know. I don't tend to look at US airlines for flights because that would mean usually I'm flying to Mexico or the Caribbean, and that would mean connecting, which I'd rather not do if I can avoid it. So I don't know. I don't think it's an option, but it could be. Okay. Move it. Oops. Where do we go? There we go. Okay. Moving on to Firefest. So this is kind of like, what was it called? It was the music party that they just had in California. It's like the Lollapalooza, whatever, but it's the one that they have, there's Burning Man, which is, I think, in Nevada. And then there's the one in California, which Elizabeth was on. She could tell us. Gone. Anyways, it's a huge music festival, and it was going over the last 2 weekends in California. Firefest was something similar. So originally this event was originally took place in the Bahamas in 2017, and it was, the tickets were selling for, $1,000 to $12,000 per person, and it was meant to be the event of the century kind of thing. Uh, oh, yes. Hey, Angelo, how are you? Coachella. Yes, that is exactly it. Tammy thought something burning. Yeah, no, that's Burning Man. Yeah. Yeah. Christine's just saying, going back to the seating thing, never been able to sleep on a plane. Yeah. Upgraded to economy premium for a 6-inch incline for my June long haul. So that's kind of the same idea. Oh, okay, interesting. Well, let us know how that works for you. And definitely, if you don't have a good neck pillow, check out the one in the links below, because I swear by that. It's nice because you can wrap it around your neck like this, and it keeps your neck from you drooling all over the place. Or you can fold it in half so it looks like a banana, and you can lean up against the side wall. So it's kind of cool. So this original event, which was in the Bahamas in 2017, it was, it was a big thing. They ranted and raved about it. It was supposed to be a huge thing. It actually ended up with one of the organizers being charged with several crimes, including wire fraud. And then there was supposedly another follow-up event that was being planned for Playa del Carmen that was around to take place May 30th to June 2nd. But now local officials are saying that there's not even been any applications for permits in the area. Event officials are saying that they had stuff that was sort of approved, and then they were waiting on further approvals, and now it's all disappeared from the system. It's hard to say. The original event, the one from 2017, it ended up being the inspiration for a couple of Netflix and Hulu documentaries about the event, about the canceled performers. The gourmet food selections ended up being like boxed cheese sandwiches. And as far as the accommodations, the luxury accommodations, it ended up being FEMA tents. So the first aid tents that people got to sleep in. In the end, the promoter ended up being sentenced to 6 years in prison, with several lawsuits and a loss to investors of upwards of $26 million. So, as I say, there's a new event that's supposedly been planned for Playa del Carmen for this year, and now that's kind of fizzling out. It sounds like the latest thing, and this has been in the news quite a bit in the last week. It was a story that I wasn't even necessarily going to cover or discuss today, but it just keeps, it's one of those things that it's just keeps coming back in the news. So I thought I'd bring it up. It sounds like these people that have already purchased their tickets for this. The ticket distributor, I guess you would call that, like their version of Ticketmaster, has said that the event is fully refundable, which is going to put them in a bit of a pickle because they're holding on to these funds, which if they invest them well, it's going to make them a few bucks, but nonetheless, having to go back and the labor time to process refunds if this doesn't go through is going to be a bit of a cost to them. But it looks like the organizers have sold what they call it intellectual property. They've sold that, and it looks like it might become a music streaming site maybe later this year. So I don't know if that sounds, if you're interested in these kind of crazy stories, stay tuned, because it's probably going to continue to be in the news as the drama unfolds. Yes, Angelo, hello. When are you heading out? I know you're heading to Breathless Cancun Seoul and the Hyatt Vivid for your 1-year redo of the Hyatt Vivid. I'm curious, Angela, when are you going? Yes, and I did hear that it was originally scheduled to be Isla Mujeres and then to Playa del Carmen, and then now an online music festival. And as I say, the people who have purchased the rights to the intellectual property, I guess they call it, they're now saying that they're trying to gear this up for the fall. So who knows? Yeah, I mean, possibly, who knows? Time will tell. But it just sounds like maybe not all the I's were dotted and all the T's were crossed. We shall see. Heading out on Sunday. Geez, that's not far away. Nice, 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 nice. So we will try to connect on that and maybe get some more pics and videos and stuff like that from Angelo, if you are willing, when you are away in those fabulous resorts. I know Angelo is a tech guy, a gadget guy, and I know he loved the Breathless Soul, and I did as well. I only had, sadly, one night there because of the stupid hurricane, but yeah, it was just, if you like tech forward properties, that just little things that make it easier, like using your phone to unlock your door, using your phone as a remote control, just convenience. And as long as it's easy to understand and easy to adapt or implement, then giddy up. Returning on May 16th. Returning on May 16th. I think I leave on May the 12th, heading to Cabo. So we will cross. Well, we're not really going to cross airways because you're East Coast and I'm West Coast, but nonetheless. Cool. Okay, so moving on. Oh, yeah, well, this is a fun one. Christine, Tammy, I think you'll love this. Angelo probably would do this. So I've got a little video to show you. This is a new ride on the debuting Norwegian cruise line Aqua. It's a two-person floaty raft that is on a water slide on the ship. And I'm going to show you a little video here. So again, it doesn't have any sound. It is 51 seconds long. So let's just take a look and let me know what you think. Is this a yay, that looks fun? Or is this no, I don't think so? Or give me some other emoji if the idea of something like this just terrifies you, because you wouldn't catch me on it. Oh, sorry. It's kind of cool looking. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, is that something you would do? Obviously, she's holding her Insta360 with the stick, the invisible stick they call it, because it just disappears when you're filming. So you can basically hold it and film, and it films in all three 360 degrees. So it's kind of cool for making videos like that. Normally, they don't let you take things like that on water slides. And as we've discussed before, new water slides, I mean, on a cruise ship, probably there's a little bit more involved in checks and balances and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't think I would be doing it. Oh, just reading your comments as they're just coming up now. Oh, Angela. Okay, so Angela's saying 3 different hotels over the 3 Wednesdays. guys want it? Vivid, Ziva, and then Breathless. Oh, Riviera Cancun. I thought you were going to Breathless Soul. Okay. Okay. All right. So reactions to the videos. So we have Tammy first. Speaks for itself, I think. Angelo, true to expectations, definitely would do those slides. Angelo, do the tandem together. Yeah. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. Yeah, much like the slides. I mean, it literally, I've showed you on this video before, or showed a clip of this before, where it basically hoists you up, tilts you over the edge of the boat, and then you're swinging. Like, hello, mental fatigue, and also just things happen. Oh, Tabby's saying yes to all three. Yeah, I'll message you, Angelo, and we can work out logistics, definitely. But yeah, it would be fun to get your updates on those. So I'm gonna guess doing Vivid first, and then Ziva, and then Breathless. So Ziva Riviera Cancun has apparently just undergone a whole bunch of renovations. So I'm curious to see what you think of that, to hear what you think of that. But that was, I always enjoyed that resort. That one also has some interesting water slides, the Hyatt Ziva Riviera Cancun. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Like that to me, no. And to me, it personally isn't even a draw. Like, but I suppose if you have teenagers, that would probably sell them on it right there. But I don't know. I mean, again, pottery wheel. Like, we wanted to see it Hyatt Vivid. If anyone's watching who's actually had a chance to do the pottery class at Hyatt Vivid, I'm curious, because that was like literally pretty much the only thing. I mean, there's a lot of cool sounding stuff, but that was the one thing that I really, really, really wanted to do. And it wasn't available. Whatever. Yeah. Oops. And then Angela saying Hyatt Ziva also got some new big water slides and a tandem raft slide. So that could be kind of fun. If it's not too fast, I'd be up for it. But I don't know. I'm just not that, we talked about this last week. It's the whole thing, like, I don't know, I guess getting older, and it's like not being comfortable with scary rides and thrill rides, and it's the whole, I guess maybe the older you get, the more memories you have, and the more experience, and the more you've read about all these kind of disasters and tragedies where things went wrong, unplanned, but that's why they call them accidents. They're not like planned events. So yeah. Oh, I forgot to put my earbuds in today. Let me know how the sound is. How does the sound compare to last week? Last week I did have them in for the whole time. So yeah, I'm curious. This is me just shouting at the laptop. Angelo, way to go. Yeah, gotta do the pottery classes. Now, I mean, I haven't been looking, but in the app for Hyatt Vivid, you can actually see when the events are, and it's sort of I think they go Monday to Sunday. So on a Monday, you'll be able to see what the events are for the rest of the week. So I should start doing that. I know they don't really have an events thing for the Sandos, which is the first hotel that I'm staying at in Cabo. I do know that Wednesday is white night, so I will be packing a white outfit for that. Just responding to Angelo's pottery offering. And then at the Rios, they don't really have a whole lot of different activities. My plan, I'm staying at the Baja California because the rooms are the best, and the food and drinks, I felt they were just a little bit higher, a little bit more elevated than the Rio Palace Cabo San Lucas. Maybe because the Rio Palace Baja California is an elite club resort. But anyways, best of the best, right? But I do prefer the pools at the Rio Palace Cabo San Lucas, almost maybe because they're a little bit more spread out. And although it is a family-friendly property, whereas Baja California is adults only, I did prefer the being on that side with it's an older resort, so there's much more, the palm trees are big and provide a little bit of shade. And it's like I said, it's just a little bit more spread out. So you felt like it was easier to get a chair by the pool, that kind of thing. I've already also thought about having lunch. There's the Italian restaurant, which is right by the pool that I used to always sit at. The Italian restaurant for lunch is a regular buffet. It's not an Italian theme per se. But even just to go in there and sit at the table and have drinks and just enjoy the view, because it's the only restaurant out of the 3 properties that is right on the beach. In fact, it's more forward than the infinity pools. So yeah, so and just enjoying, watching the waves crashing and all that kind of stuff. It is going to be a full moon, I think, when I first get there. So that usually creates crazy waves as well. So we'll see what that's like. And then the third thing that I absolutely love about that property is the lobby bar. It's open air lobby bar, and you can sit up there and enjoy the sunset. And there's some telescopes, which are free to use, or that were anyways. And you can't see the arch because the resort's too close to Cabo San Lucas, but you can see Land's End, and you can see the cruise ships. You can see all the fishing boats coming in and out. So it's quite. I love the view from there. So that's what I'm looking forward to most, quite honestly. All right, and this is, like I say, last but not least, because I do have some more topics to go after this. So this is an interesting one. I had not heard of this, but if you know somebody who's practicing vegan or has just really is strict vegan, or even vegetarian, and they really struggle with finding resorts that have more than just a few food items, as well as, a lot of times there will be a vegan or vegetarian or a gluten-free section of the buffet, but it's usually wildly cross-contaminated, usually within about 15 minutes of the buffet opening. And I don't blame this on the resort. I blame this on guests who maybe don't realize the peril that they're putting somebody in by dipping into the mac and cheese over there and then the salad over here, because it's going to be a gluten issue. Or perhaps something that, scoop up the bacon and then scoop up some carrots. A vegan, I think, would probably not appreciate that. So there is a resort, and this is in the Mayan Riviera. I'm trying to work out my directions. South of Playa del Carmen, actually south of the. I'm at a loss for words today. Tammy, what's the area where the hotels are? That is in like Playa del Carmen, but it's in the gated area. Cannot remember the name of it at all. The resort is called the House of Palmea, and it is strictly it's vegan. So they do have it's predominantly plant-based food. They do have protein options available. So if you're traveling with somebody who is strict vegan, but you need your bacon, I don't think that's a problem. And as I say, it's walkable. It's a fairly long walk. It'd be about 40, 50 minutes from where the hotel is located to the Playa del Carmen. Oh, yes. Playa Car, that is the area. So basically, Playa Car starts from where the ferry terminal is that goes across to Cozumel. If you go south of that, so it's across the street is the Playa Car area. It's a gated community. And all the way down to the farthest hotel there is the Sandos Playa Car. And I guess I could have just worked out that name, would have figured it out. And then just beside that is the House of Palmea. And like I said, this is a resort that's been open for a couple, 2, 3 years now. And I had never heard of it. I mean, not like I'm looking for a vegan resort, but if you know somebody who is vegan or vegetarian and wants to be able to stick true to that with having a gourmet menu available without having to worry about, like I said, cross contamination, this is an option to consider. House of Palmea, so it's PALMAIA. Not inexpensive. So I guess if you want to look at it this way, the average room size is 538 square feet is what the rooms start at for basic room. So it's an okay size. It's not massive or anything. But the rates, I looked at, for example, December 1st to 8th, which is my kind of go-to temperature check week. It's usually the cheapest week of the year, other than sometimes during hurricane season. But December 1st to the 8th is usually one of the least expensive weeks of the year. And in that week, the hotel was, for all-inclusive rate, double occupancy, was going for $1,158, $1,158 US per room per night. So like I said, it's not cheap, but yeah. I don't know if you're meant to say hi or if that is a typo. But anyways, hello, Howard. How are you? Good to hear from you. Oh, and Angelo, of course, has already been on his app while I've been yakking. Looks like Vivid is doing arts every day at 1 p.m. in the Amber area. Oh, that's correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that's the deck area, the upper deck area by the taco truck where there's the Amber bar, ranging from macrame to hat painting. That's cool. I like doing that. To canvas painting. Pottery is not specifically listed, but I will find out what day it is. Well, I hope you do get to do it. I did do the macrame. I think it's great that they have varied activities because there were people who were doing it in our group that really were enjoying it. And for others, we each had a glass of wine or a cocktail with us, and we were more interested in the drink than that. And just laughing at people as they're trying to, okay, I did it on this side of the thing, trying to make a V, and then trying to do it on the other side and make it match. And it's like, oh, geez. Yeah, Christine said she did the bracelet making. Oh, Howard is pocket dialing. Fair enough. Tammy says she loves all that. Yeah, the hat painting. I think you did the hat painting in the Dominican, didn't you? I can't remember. We got hats that had already been painted, but and I still have it. It's quite a nice wide brow hat, and yeah, and the pottery for sure. For sure, I'd be doing the pottery. Always fun. Yeah. So, so that's the House of Palmea. So, okay, now let's talk about. We'll go into random mode. So a couple of things, and then I'll talk about the Sandoz giveaway. I just wanted to say, so a couple of things. Number one, I'm reading about this cruise ship tax. Mexico, last year, they voted in favor of reinstating the cruise ship passenger tax, which the cruise lines immediately responded back and said, well, if you do this, we're just going to pass on these costs to our passengers on board. So it's going to make the cruise more expensive for them. And, they're, with deals like this, they're already obviously hurting somewhat. Tammy's saying, yeah, might have been Riviera Maya or Dreams doing the hat painting. Oh, could have been. I know you did it and I wasn't there, and I was pretty I was jealous that you got to do it because it sounded like a lot of fun. So this cruise ship tax, it's you know, it seems like they're back and forth on this about whether or not they're going to charge it. I know that the in the Caribbean they're sort of doing it like an environmental tax, and it's bringing in a lot of revenue for them. And if they're using it towards good things, like the plan was for them to use this money, have the money go to the military, to beef up the military, to increase security, that kind of thing, as well as to expand the ports. And of course, you look at Cozumel. Cozumel is getting to the point where it can be almost as busy as Nassau in terms of the amount of ships that they can have in. So there is going to have to be some ongoing improvements and stuff like that. And as we've seen with the whole Cancun area, they have done an amazing job, like doing the Tren Maya, the Mayan train. Expanding that whole route is going to greatly improve one's ability to travel, between the different areas, as well as adding the Tulum airport. And there's been some hiccups along the way, but it opened months ahead of schedule. And what airport opens ahead of schedule? Like none. So that's kind of cool. But they're doing improvements, also building that bridge, which will go from sort of the main Cancun downtown area where the locals live to the tourist area. The ending point is going to be at the Plaza Culhuacan. So it'll make it easier for workers instead of going through let's call it from the proper downtown non-tourist area, Cancun. So at the top of the 7, having them come in and then down the hotel strip. So if any of the employees are working in that area, they're all coming in at the top of the 7, and this would be at the corner by uh, wow, trying to think. The Barcelo used to be there. The Breathless Soul is in that area, that kind of thing. So a lot of traffic there. Howard's saying they were checking out the Rock the Tides music festival at the Barcelo in November. Crazy expensive for 3 days, almost $3,000, and that's US dollars. Yeah, and I think the Hard Rock usually has something big going on as well. Moon Palace as well. I mean, the Moon Palace is over 3,000 rooms, and it's not uncommon for them to sell out several times a year. And because they are so that big, they can have these big festivals and stuff like that. Because they've got the space for it. They've got the event space for it, which is a huge thing. So yeah. So we'll see on that, the cruise ship, passenger tax, what happens with that, but it's something to bear in mind. And I'm just curious. So last week I went to see the Banksy exhibit is in town. So it's downtown Vancouver in Gastown, which is a very scenic area. And it's an exhibit that is, it's an exhibit of Banksy art, or I don't know what you would call it, almost like graffiti art, protest art. It was very, very interesting. I'm not sure. I didn't know much about his work ahead of time. But this would be like all of his stuff was done with stencils. He went to New York City. So he lives in, I forget which area it is, but in England. And so he was doing all this artwork around, in London and the other area where he's from. And then he went to New York, and he was doing would call it installations, but like these big street art, like with a vehicle involved in the foreground and then painting on the wall in the background. And he would do this whole thing, and nobody ever saw him do this. He never got caught on camera, which in England is really hard to do because they have CCTV like everywhere. But yeah, nobody ever caught him doing it. And he actually at one point even made fake money, replaced the head, replaced, it was, I think, a £5 note, and he replaced Queen Elizabeth on it with Princess Diana, and changed some of the writing on it as well. But then he also then decided to distribute the money at some art event, which I think still counts as fraud, and money. I don't know, it wouldn't be money laundering, but anyways, yeah. So his identity has largely remained anonymous, but there's some speculation as to who it is. But obviously, he's a bit concerned because if they do find out who he is, they could arrest him and he could spend the rest of his life in jail. I think the one thing that he did with the money, the fake money, was basically carried a 10-year sentence or something. So not something your average artist would want to do, but it's basically protest art. It was a really interesting exhibition. If you live in the area, it's in downtown Vancouver, it's $30, and the service fees are zero. There's no extra. Normally, if you want to go and see any, like the Van Gogh event that they had here a couple of years ago, I forget what the price was, but then there's fees on fees on fees and then tax on top of the whole thing. So I thought this was extremely good value for money. So it's here, I think, until about the end of May. So if you're coming here for an Alaska cruise, or if you're American and you want to come here and spend a whole hell of a lot less on a vacation than you would in the US, come here because our dollar is still very low by comparison, and the hotels are cheap as chips by comparison. So come and check it out. Howard is saying that one has Motley Crue and Def Leppard. Oh, interesting. Interesting. But yeah, those things are always really expensive. And by and large, you have to stay at the hotel in order to access the event. So they kind of get you coming and going. So yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this free Sandos 5-night stay. I'm going to just put a little comment here. Captions. Yeah, we'll put it here. Add 5-night stay at Sandos Inclusive Resort. Oh, that's not the 1,000th video. There we go. That's the one. Okay, so let's talk about this. So what they're doing is they're calling it reuse Sandos, or sort of like reuse. What they're doing is they're offering, there's a contest that the Sandos resorts are offering. It's got nothing to do with me. I'm just passing along the message. Basically, they want you to create unique artwork from recycled materials. Submit a picture of this online by May 31st to win, and the winner will be announced June 5th, 2025. I will put a link to the actual contest site below so you can see all the terms and conditions. But basically, some of the gist of it is you need to use 70% recycled materials. It doesn't have to be made at the Sandos Resort. It could be made anywhere, but it gives you a chance to win this. And what we're seeing is a lot of resorts are starting to use more of local artists in their resort decor. For example, Breathless Soul, when I was there, they had a local artist and they had a bunch of, I want to say, her works throughout the property. And it was really fascinating to see intricate beadwork and really amazing stuff. So this must be your original artwork. It can't be a replica of something. As I say, 70% of it must be recycled materials. 30% of it can be any other material, but 70% of it has to be recycled. You can use any technique or visual art to create it. And then, of course, you must share it on social. You can share it on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook, and you must tag their corporate accounts, which are actually all the same, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. It's at Sandos Hotels. And then also do the hashtag reuse Sandos. So REU Sandos, SANDOS. And they want you to include a brief description of the inspiration, history, and the creative process and materials used. Got some extra wine corks laying around, some extra beer tabs, can tabs, pop bottles, beer bottle caps. I don't know. Be creative. Come up with something. Maybe you win a free 5-night stay. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be cool? I'm going to make something. Why not? Why wouldn't I? Got all kinds of junk around my house that surely I could be reusing and creating into something. It might not be anything interesting, but I could be making something. So, yeah, definitely, check it out. Check it out. Well, that's all I have for you this week. Angela, we will be in touch. So possibly next week, I'm going to guess at that point, you might still be at the Vivid for next Wednesday. We shall see. But I'll be in touch with you and we can figure out what we want to do on that note. And to the rest of you, thanks for tuning in today. Thanks for all your comments and questions and suggestions and feedback. Really appreciate it. Always good to chat with you. And yeah, always a good Wednesday. Yeah. He's going to use his pottery from the Vivid. Awesome. Wednesday at Vivid. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, and then Howard, he's off to Allegro Play a Car, May 6th. Awesome. Everybody's in the house. May 6th. So that's, yeah, so you go a week before me. So everybody's traveling. I'm a little worried it's going to be crazy hot. And I was looking at, like I said, watching some different videos and different things to do in Cabo. And one of the things is there's Mount Solmar. So I'm staying at the Santos Finisterre, which if this is the marina, and at the top is where Breathless is, and the Rio and Medano Beach, and the other part of the circle is where Land's End is, and the Arch. There's a hill, mount, I guess, before that, which is called Mount Solmar, and it's right by the Solmar Resort. Oddly enough. And they do a hike up there almost every day of the week. It's a guided hike, but it's like 45 minutes up. And at 8 a.m., it's, I think, going to be about 27, 28 degrees. And we've got that hike factor going on. So I don't know if I'm going to do it. Also would mean packing good, proper running shoes, grippy shoes. So, but it's just interesting to see some of the different things that are available. Don't know where I was going with that, but anyways, something to ponder. Anyways, thanks again for tuning in, everybody, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you here again next Wednesday, and hopefully broadcasting live from Hyatt Vivid with Angelo. So I'm really looking forward to that. So thanks again for tuning in. Have a great week. Oh. Yeah. Went to the Mayan Riviera last June. Never again. It was stupid hot. Even the Mexicans were sweating. Yeah. Angela's got his new water shoes for Xcaret. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's where I was going with this. Like by 8 in the morning, if it's going to be 28 degrees, like I just don't think so. But that's where I will enjoy my nice large room at the Rio Palace, Baja California, where I have air conditioning, space just to relax and cool down. So, yeah. Terrible life problems we have, right? Oh, well. Well, thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys have a great week, and we will see you next Wednesday. So, bye for now. Oh, before you go, thumbs up if you enjoyed the show. Thumbs down if you didn't. It's all good. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.